Hi, I watched Paint with Love and here's my review. The story is about Pap, an abstract painter who gets hired by Maze to paint at a celebrity's wedding. However, on the day of the wedding, a costly incident happens and Pap finds himself having to work in Maze's company to clear his debt. In a sense, this drama is a surprise to me, but both on the good side and the bad side, and it's a bit sad because I was actually expecting this drama a bit because of the casting and how the trailer looked. First, on the bad side, I'm going to say that I was expecting, I think, something a lot more serious for this drama, something more beautiful, I want to say, something kind of polished. I don't know, it was my expectations. However, I'm so glad actually that Pap doesn't have the personality I thought he was going to have. I don't know why, but based on the trailer, I thought Pap was going to be kind of very serious and maybe a bit cold and detached, but actually his personality is the complete opposite in the drama, so this was actually a good surprise for me to have such a personality. On Maze's side, played by Singtor, again, I didn't think he was going to have such a personality. He was kind of such a sassy and greedy CEO, but he was still very likable. Maybe it's also because I really like the actor that I have to say that, but yeah, it's always quite nice to see him. However, ultimately, the story kind of failed to really attract me and pull me inside the drama because, as I said, I thought it was going to be something a lot more romantic with a lot more feels, but it's actually not the case, and because of that, well, I found the chemistry between the two mains to be a bit lacking. I could see a potential very good chemistry between the two leads, but unfortunately I think they didn't do enough in this drama for their relationship to actually grow into something very nice to watch. But I'm going to have a very tiny spoil part right after, so I'm going to develop that a bit more. I also want to point out that the acting was actually pretty good in this drama. The two mains did a really good job at acting. Of course, I already knew Singtor's acting, so there was no surprise here, but even the secondary characters I think did quite a good job, actually. I especially want to mention Tan and Nguyen's agent. I both saw them before in different dramas, and I remember I really didn't like them, but not necessarily for their personality in the drama, but because I thought the acting was very, very lacking, especially in the actor who plays Tan's, actually. But even though maybe it's still not perfect, especially on the actor who plays Tan, I think it was a big improvement in this drama, and I really want to applaud that because I actually kind of really liked the side couple, these two actors who have to play in a BL. I really liked the whole little story they had, so it was actually nice to have Tan's actor actually be a lot more consistent than when I saw him before. And I'm now going into the tiny spoil part to continue with them. So, spoil part now. So I really have to mention this kiss scene that was not in the script for both Tan and Nguyen. Honestly, I was very surprised. It was so cute. First, very pure, and then it's kind of all the longing came out of them, and it was such a touching kiss scene. I don't know, it really made me feel a lot. It was so cute. But yeah, unfortunately, just like Pap and Maze, I think their relationship as well was not really developed, though I actually saw more chemistry with the both of them than with the main characters. So yeah, unfortunately, I think they don't develop the relationship of Maze and Pap well enough. It goes too quickly to strangers, to kind of having an attraction, to actually not going out, but kind of sleeping together anyway. Well, they were in this weird thing, It was not well developed enough. It was kind of too abrupt. Everything was going kind of too quick because they are very different people. So I believe it would take a bit more time to really have them get accustomed to each other and start to really develop deep feelings for each other. But it's not done like this in the drama, so the chemistry was a bit off for me. And since they are such different people, I actually wanted to see them more dating together. Because they have both different lifestyles. They are very different. So you see at the end that they do change. Maze becomes a bit more like Pap, and Pap becomes a bit more like Maze. So you know they go nicely together. But they are still very different, so it would actually have been very, very nice to see them dating more and not have them finally get together in the last minute of the drama. I think it would have helped their chemistry a lot, and it's actually sad because I actually wanted to see them more together, more interacting, but it doesn't really happen, especially because I think in like the second half of the drama, unnecessary drama actually happens. A lot of stuff happen that I don't necessarily see a point. I mean, we could have had a very beautiful story of two people very different learning to know about each other and each other's ways and falling in love like this and making it work. But instead we have a very classic story with a lot of drama, a lot of things happening, and because of that they have no time to really develop their relationship, and it's a big shame. So yeah, chemistry kind of inexistent in this drama, unfortunately. Well, at least I saw it this way. I mean, it took a month, an entire month, for Mace to realize that he didn't want to lose Pap before he went to Japan, so if that's not dramatic, I don't know what it is. It's just drama on top of drama. He just waits the very last day, like, couldn't you have this realization yesterday? Maybe. No. Very, very dramatic on this point. And that's it for me with Paint with Love. In my opinion, it's a very average drama. It's nothing very special. It could have been, in my opinion, but it wasn't. It was kind of a miss. But it doesn't mean it's bad either. It's just very average. Like I said, nothing special. It's clearly not a drama that people will remember, but if you're curious or are planning to watch it, I still invite you to do so, because maybe you could like it a lot more than I did. And as I always say, it's better to make your own opinion anyway than base your judgment on what someone else is saying. However, for me, I would not necessarily recommend it to you, except if you really like one of the actors and really want to see them again. But otherwise, yeah, it's up to you. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!